What's going on, guys? My name is Sputnik, and today... Oh, I almost forgot my sword. What's going on, guys? My name is Sputnik, and today I'm continuing my journey to become a Game of Thrones maester. That's right, folks. Today, I am reacting to the history and lore for Season 2 of Game of Thrones. Alright, so we know the drill. I got my notebook here ready to take notes. I have my mind empty and ready to be filled with knowledge of the lore and history of Game of Thrones. And yeah, so this is gonna be informing me, just giving me background information and knowledge that will help me understand Season 2 better. I do wonder if it would be better for me to, going forward, to watch the lore videos beforehand. I don't know what you guys think is better. Maybe I should do a poll of that or whatever. I like what we've been doing now because it kind of gives me a retrospective and just to help me better analyze the past season, so when I go into the next season, I'm like, I fully get it. But either way, yeah, I'm just excited to hop right in. I don't know if we're gonna get any more, especially since the Dothraki was such a small part of this season. If we're gonna get any true Dothraki history, maybe some Karth history in here or something like that, because I feel like most of the stuff we get is just based on our main family, the Starks, the Targaryens, you know. So yeah, it'd be interesting maybe to get some. Did we get Tully history or anything like that? Yeah, I feel like it's mainly just Starks, which I'm fine with. But yeah, it would be fun to get a wider breadth of knowledge shared with us. Yeah, that'd be interesting. All right, I don't really have any other reservations or anything to say beforehand. So I say we get ready to get maestered. Sure, that works. Let's do it. Yeah, and I don't even need the big keyboard anymore. I got this tiny one, so there it works. Let's get started. Greyjoy Rebellion by Theon Greyjoy. Okay.
When Aegon and his dragons burned Harren the Black and all his sons at Harrenhal, the days when men feared the sight of our longships were over. Aegon would not...
Let me turn on. Nope, no subtitles. Wow. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna have to thug it out. Let's go.
Not permit marauders and raiders in his 7 kingdoms. With Harren died our empire, and the old way that forged it.
Oh, Harrenhal, yeah, that's why I was so
never die.
messed up in burned. Yeah, they talked about that in when they gave Littlefinger end up getting Harrenhal? I believe he did. Yeah, for brokering that little thing between the Targaryens, not the Targaryens, the Lannisters and I forget his fucking name. Whatever. The people that came at the end to save Cersei.
6 years after Robert Baratheon won his crown, my father, Baelon Greyjoy, sought to restore our ancient rights.
Okay.
He declared the Iron Islands independent and himself its king, and sent the Iron Fleet in a daring raid on Lannisport, where they burned the Lannister ships at anchor, making us unchallenged in the Sunset Sea. This was the seed of our undoing. My eldest brother Roderick led a frontal assault on Seaguard, a town
all his
built
brothers
to
died
protect
too?
the mainland from us. After ferocious fighting beneath the city walls, he was slain by Lord Jason Mallister and his men defeated. By this time, Stannis Baratheon had brought Robert's fleet around Westeros and somehow managed to trap the Iron Fleet at Fair Isle, smashing it. Robert's victory was now all but assured.
Okay.
Yet we made him bleed for each island.
Okay.
Stannis Baratheon
put up a
captured
fight.
Great Wick, the largest of the Iron Islands, and Ser Barristan Selmy himself subdued Old Wick. Robert and Lord Eddard...
Barristan Selmy. Should I know that name? It's very familiar. Is that the guy that was like the bad influence on Theon? I'm not sure.
Stark led the main assault against the island of Pike.
And that's where
they razed the
people
town
are.
of Lordsport to the ground before
Where's
Robert
that?
turned his full fury on our family's stronghold. When they breached the walls, the first through was Thoros of Myr with his ridiculous flaming sword.
That's
followed
badass.
by every minor lord of Westeros.
How does he keep it
hungry for
flaming?
glory. My other brother Maron was killed when the siege engines brought down a tower on his head.
Whoa.
I was now my
This was
father's
probably
only
quick.
living son,
And they stole him.
and heir to the Iron Islands. When my father saw his cause was lost, he wisely conceded defeat to Robert,
Okay.
who otherwise would have pulled down our castle stone by stone with us in it.
Yep.
As my father said to me then,
His only
no man has
smart
ever died
decision.
from bending his knee. He who kneels may rise again, blade in hand. He who will not kneel stays dead. Stiff
That is a very great quote, and also very true. Do I have my pen here? Yeah, I'm not gonna write it down. But and that basically was his plan. He waited until he felt, he had a time to be able to strike back against the Starks, and he did such. Yeah.
As it stands, Robert allowed my father to keep his lands and title as Lord of the Iron Islands, King of Salt and Rock, Son of the Sea Wind, Lord Reaper of Pike, for a price. His last son and heir shipped off to Winterfell as an honoured guest.
Okay.
I would eat at the Stark's table and play with the Stark children. And if my father rebelled again, Lord Eddard Stark would take his sword and cut off my head.
Oh, so he was that explains it. Cause I was like, why did they take me on? And he's like a contingency. He's kind of like a hostage. So that informs me a little bit more about his motivations for betraying them a little bit. But still, he was an honored guest. I don't know. I feel like that was a good outcome. And again, his father conceded to that, which I can't even blame him for. Cause who wouldn't, to keep at least your last son alive? I don't know.
It would be his duty.
Harrenhal by Catelyn Stark.
On the shores of the God's Eye, due north of the Isle of Faces, rises a monument to arrogance and cruelty.
Another reference to the God's Eye. So Harrenhal is on shores of the God's Eye. I gotta look at a map, y'all. I might do that towards the end of this.
Harrenhal.
Boop.
For a people who prided themselves on their ships, the Iron Men of old seized any chance to leave them, and carved out a vast kingdom from the peaceful river lords.
Okay.
The Empire reached its zenith under King Harrenhal, called the Black by those he terrorized, and by his own men, though they meant it proudly.
Oh yeah, I also got a note. Amazing animation as usual. I love this style with like the still frames, but still like the kind of parallax effects between them. It looks amazing.
King Harren enslaved the Riverlands to raise the mightiest fortress Westeros had ever seen. A castle that could garrison 1 million men, with walls so vast that winters would come and go, and besieging armies grow old and grey before the castle fell.
Old
5
and grey
towers
joy.
he ordered, reaching into the heavens like grasping fingers. A monstrosity which he forced our people to build for their own subjugation.
Damn.
But the very
So
day
it
the
was
slaves
on
laid the
Toilet?
last stone,
I think I missed that.
Aegon Targaryen and his sisters arrived in the south. When they arrived with their small army, Harren laughed and shut the gates. Harrenhal would have its first test, and an easy one at that. It failed. Harrenhal could have withstood an assault from all the armies in Westeros combined.
But not dragons.
But Harren learned that the tallest and thickest walls meant little to dragons, for dragons fly. With Harren and his sons dead, Harrenhal quickly surrendered to Aegon. House
this
Tully
is
led-
interesting because I don't have a real life counterpart for like a animal that's able to like projectile vomit fire and probably acid and whatever different types of dragons there are. But like, that's got to be OP. Number one, what size do these dragons get to, and how are they able to? It's so OP because if they just have an endless source of fire within them, that's so BS. It's crazy. And also like, fire. I don't know the mechanics of like what level of heat fire needs to be to burn brick and stuff like that. But like, it's got to be like some explosive power in there if it's able to just destroy and decimate an area like that. It's interesting. Here I am trying to use human logic for mythological creatures. It's better for me to just accept what they're telling me, I guess.
and raised the River Lords in rebellion against the Iron
The freaking
Islands.
mouse is there.
And with Aegon, we flushed the Iron Men to the sea. We should have torn down the castle stone by stone then. But Harrenhal seemed such a magnificent prize that Aegon gave it to one of his commanders.
Who?
Whose line then withered to extinction.
Oh.
As
Oh,
would
so it's-
every family to hold it
Yeah,
thereafter.
cursed. Alright, who would take that?
When
after?
many speak
Oh,
of
so
Harrenhal-
is this curse gonna go on to Littlefinger now for his treachery?
The voices drop to whispers about Mad Lady Lothson, who was said to send a giant bat to collect children for her crockpots, and to bathe in blood and serve feasts of human flesh. About the ghosts of Black Heron and his sons who still walk the castle at night, all aflame.
So Harrenhal is haunted, or not even haunted. It's evil Hogwarts, except without like the school element to it. But yeah, ghosts wandering around a castle. Interesting.
Of the servants who went to bed in full health and were found in the morning burnt to ash. Mere stories to frighten wayward children and excite young girls, you may say. You would not be entirely wrong. Harrenhal is a prize.
Okay.
A nigh impregnable castle with enough land and enough income to make a man, at a stroke, one of the greatest lords in Westeros.
Wow.
But you would not be entirely right either. Say by a king's...
I mean, is it still worth that much with, its decrepit state now, though?
Race. Harrenhal...
Oh yeah, didn't they talk about, like, just tearing it down and rebuilding on it? I don't know.
...became yours. Now you must garrison it. You must repair it and maintain it.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Even stretched to the ends of your means, you cannot fill and manage the whole castle. So you retreat your household to 4 of the 5 towers, then 3, then 2. Then only the bottom thirds of those. You close the whole of 100 hearths and take your meals in your rooms. Even then you can't shake the feeling of desolation. That Harrenhal and its vastness is devouring you.
Wow.
In later years, as you bury a grandson or a great-grandson, the last of your line, you will know it has.
So what's the... I get the idea that it's like a... No... Okay, pause it. I get the idea that it's like a haunted or whatever, like there's magic in this world, but for me it's like them becoming barren or whatever, because in this world, are you not able to like adopt people or whatever, like into your lineage or whatever? I guess not, because yeah, that would make sense. It's big. Interesting. Harrenhal does seem like a very I guess I believe the theories of people now. I believe that it is indeed haunted. Okay, sure. Oh damn, one sec. Alright, we're cool. We're zooming through. Now we're on House Greyjoy by Theon and Yara Greyjoy. I wonder if they'll... I figured they'd have separate ones, because I feel like they'd have different views of it. But I don't know, Theon does still seem loyal to the House Greyjoy, so let's see. Let us see.
Where the North has its honor and the South its chivalry, the Iron Islands has its strength.
We call ourselves the Ironborn, and we are warriors feared throughout the 7 kingdoms.
The Iron.
Or so we used to be. Unlike their mainland cousins, the first men of the Iron Islands never bowed to the old gods.
Theirs was the drowned god,
Ooh.
who made the Ironborn to reave and sack and write their names in salt, steel, and song, that his enemy, the Storm God, could not wash away. We raised our kings from our own ranks,
Storm God.
and used beaten foes as thralls to work our mines and farm our land.
Or as salt wives, if a woman was pretty enough. Such was the old way, and while we followed it, we held sway wherever the waves were heard.
We know
When
the
Aegon
way.
came demanding fealty,
Now I'm getting
King
Moana.
Harren the Black ruled as far
This
east
is like
as the Trident.
this is like Moana, but with no culture. Or, I mean, not no culture. There's always culture, but no seasoning, I should say. Let me see.
Other kings like the Starks could kneel, but Harren was Ironborn, and the Ironborn must be beaten. In Harrenhal, he had the mightiest castle in Westeros,
So is that like an inconsistency? Because like, I don't know. One sec, let me listen.
and the army to defend it.
But Aegon did not intend a siege. He mounted his dragon and roasted Harren and all his sons in their tower, and the Old Way with them. Because of Harren's defiance, Aegon pushed the Ironborn back to our islands and gave the Riverlands to the Tullys.
So Aegon, okay, that is perfect. That sentence right there. Aegon, took out the Ironborn control of Harrenhal Giving it back to the Tullys. It to Tullys. Okay. That makes sense.
But he did allow the Ironborn to choose who would lead them.
House Greyjoy had always been one of the greatest houses of the Iron Islands. We trace our descent from the Age of Heroes and the legendary Grey King, who took a mermaid to wife and made war upon the Storm God for 1,000
mermaid,
years.
Myth.
Blessed by the drowned god, the Grey King fought and slew Naga, the great sea dragon, and took her fire for his own.
Okay.
This history made our ancestor Vicon Greyjoy the natural choice to lead the Ironborn after Aegon's conquest.
What's his name? Rickon Greyjoy? Say it again. Come on, don't be silly. I want to hear his name.
The natural choice to lead the Ironborn. History made our
Great sea dragon, and took her fire for his own.
This history made our ancestor Vicon Greyjoy
Vicon.
the natural choice to lead the Ironborn after Aegon's conquest. For 300 years, House Greyjoy ruled the Ironborn.
Yeah.
We styled ourselves Lord of the Iron Islands, King of Sultan Rock, Son of the Sea Wind, Lord Reaper of Pike.
In truth, we
Get
were
it? You
thralls.
like islands.
Our people still chanted, "What is dead may never die."
That is
The old way had died.
Until the Targaryen.
So was that like a phrase? Huh. Is that like a phrase? So yeah, it's a phrase that came before. So is the old way basically their pillaging days, more their them going out days, and the new ways is them just sitting on their islands and staying the fuck to themselves, I guess. Old ways versus new ways. Got it. Yeah, just their conquest through earning iron. Yeah, I'm understanding it. I'm getting it.
Followed their dragons into the grave, and our Lord Father, Baelon Greyjoy, rose against the new king, Robert Baratheon. He seized our ancient crown and sent our Iron Fleet against the Lannisters at Lannisport, burning all their ships before any could weigh anchor.
Though Robert and Eddard Stark would later defeat him, they understood us no better than Aegon. The Greyjoy sigil is the Kraken. What it grasped once, it will never surrender.
Wow, it's a kraken? I thought it was like an octopus. Sigil is a kraken. But now we know the kraken exists in their world. What mythological creature doesn't exist here? Did they have centaurs, bro? Did they have, what else do I like? I guess wyverns? Wyverns, I believe. That's like dragons, but they only have 2 legs or whatever. Just, I'm interested. Cyclops, giants, I know that we heard about those. I'd love to see that, but I don't know if they would show us that.
What is dead may never die.
But hey,
But
I was gonna say they're dead, but
Harder
is dead
and stronger.
So that does look like, I almost said Cthulhu. It does look like a kraken. I'm drawing little
Though
images.
Robert had risked all
in my
our
notes to
lives
help
to
me.
win it, the Iron Throne bored him. He cared
Oh, wait,
little
what
for
was the name of this?
justice, and
What is this?
the
Okay, the Greyjoy Rebellion by Stannis Baratheon. Rip. No, Stannis is still alive. I was thinking of Renly. Okay. I haven't even been separating my notes within the sections, but I need to start doing that. Alright, this is Greyjoy Rebellion. Do I need to? I guess that's how you do notes in a regular class. I don't know. Let's see. What would,
though Robert
So yeah,
had
we're
ri-
gonna see this from the side of the Baratheons. Sure.
risked all our lives to win it, the Iron Throne bored him. He cared little for justice, and less for rule. If it weren't women or wineskin, he had no use for it. Without
Damn, you. That's how you view your brother. I mean, yeah, I guess.
the stalwart John Arryn as Hand of the King, the challenge to Robert's crown would have come much earlier than it did.
So John Arryn was like holding shit down. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Before Cersei killed him, yeah, John Arryn was a good man. I wish I'd known more about him, but I remember from the last lore what we got to know about him.
The Iron Islands have never lacked for treachery. They respect only strength, and honor is as foreign to them as the Seven.
Okay.
After 6 years, their ruler, Lord Baelon Greyjoy, wagered that King Robert had not won the support of the great houses of Westeros, many of whom still named him usurper. Lord Baelon declared the Iron Islands independent and sent his Iron Fleet to Lannisport. Lord Tywin Lannister was careless, and the Ironborn caught and burnt his ships at anchor. Lord Baelon and his reavers controlled the Sunset Sea.
Oh.
Robert then ordered me to succeed where his father-in-law, Lord Tywin, had failed.
Okay.
Beneath
Father-in-law Tywin. I'm trying to understand the lineage there. Robert. Oh no, duh, Robert. Now I'm already forgetting Robert was married to Cersei. I think we all would like to forget.
Robert's
Cersei.
fury, I sensed relief. War he could understand. He would smash Lord Baelon as he had Rhaegar. I raised Robert's fleet and sailed around Westeros to the Iron Islands.
Stannis put
I
in the
set
work.
a trap for the Iron Fleet off Fair Isle. As sailors and warriors, the Ironborn are unparalleled. But they're not soldiers. They have no discipline, no strategy, no unity. In a battle, each man fights only for his own glory.
Wow.
And their longships are built for lightning strikes and shore raids.
So is this similar to Viking culture or whatever? Like, don't fight unified way, very individualistic. Fight. Unified army. And I was gonna ask, we didn't see that in the battle last, but and at the end of last season in episode 9. But obviously that wasn't the Iron Islanders. That was the mercenary people that he hired, or the pirate people. But they fought like an army, or I guess they were piloting the ships, the pirate people, and that was Stannis' forces on the ships. Wipe the fuck out. I'm glad Stannis is still alive though. He's an interesting character. Continue.
When the captains rushed in, I smashed their longships with our larger war galleys. The strength of the Ironborn is in their ships. With the Iron Fleet broken, I had assured Robert's victory. He could now transport troops and siege weapons to invade the Iron Islands. And contrary to Baelon's hopes, Robert had plenty of both. I've never seen such allegiance as Robert could inspire in war.
Yeah.
Enemies who tried to kill him one day would be drinking with him the next under their own fallen banners. In rebelling against the Iron Throne, Lord Baelon did more than Robert ever could to cement his rule.
Okay.
When Robert came to the Iron Islands, he brought with him the full power of Westeros. Sir Barristan Selmy of the King's Guard led the assault on Old Wick, while I subdued Great Wick, the largest of the Iron Islands. But Robert saved the seat of House Greyjoy, Pike, for himself and Lord Eddard. Robert would...
Oh yeah, and then that's when what happened with
later boast of the battle's bloodiness and how he could have torn down the island into the waves if Lord Baelon hadn't bent the knee.
Yeah, that's like what Theon said, taking it down brick by brick.
But if I'd have led the assault, Baelon's neck would have bent under his sword.
Ah, so Stannis is ruthless. This is showing so Robert, because Robert seems more tactical, practical and tactical.
Because I do not forget, I do not pardon. His time will come. All their times will come.
Wow. So Stannis is led by spite and anger. Alright. By spite. That's what it's telling me. That's what that is telling me. Alright, now we're on to The Drowned God by Yara. Alright. Did we hear Yara speak in that part that said by Yara, spoken by Yara? And I don't know, but now we're going to hear her speak. Get some old lore.
The Seven are gods of weakness and defeat. Pretty chains that the first men kindly put on after the Andals crushed them.
Damn.
Except in the Iron Islands. Since the Dawn Age, the Ironborn have followed the drowned god, who plucked fire from the sea and made us to reave and sack and carve our names in blood and song.
It makes sense that a culture, you know, surrounded by being that are seafaring people would, you know, have their god be, you know, centered in the water. So that's makes sense.
When
to
the
me. And the bad guy is the storm god, or I guess the devil of their religion, the storm god, which makes sense.
Was landed on the Iron Islands, they found a god who was father, warrior, and stranger, who took mother, maiden, and crone when he would, and held the smith in thrall. His priests are the drowned men, who are clothed and armed by the sea itself.
Damn. Priests. Drowned men.
They consecrate us to the drowned god through our most sacred rite, the drowning, and ask the god to raise us from the sea as he was.
So that's what happened with Theon. We saw him in his baptism scene, the drowning. Gotcha. That sounds like a very rough religion, just the verbiage of drowning.
Harder and stronger. The Ironborn do not fear the bloodiest battles or the roughest waves. For the drowned god taught us long ago that what is dead may never die.
Oh, damn.
When an Ironborn falls, we say the drowned god needed a strong oarsman and took him below to feast in the god's watery halls.
This is a ripoff. That's some Valhalla shit. But also cool. I like it. It's now he's saying it's a ripoff of Nordic mythology. Yeah, the Valhalla shit.
Attended by mermaids. But even in death, an Ironborn is a warrior. We fight against the storm god, who holds a castle in the clouds and sends the winds to lure the Ironborn off course or wreck our ships.
This is Zeus. This is Greek mythology mixed with Nordic mythology. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. What was I gonna say? I'm liking this a lot so far. I love lore like this, or just definitely not history, definitely lore. But hey, who do I know? Because obviously the magic of these people is true. But what was I gonna say? This is completely random, but I'm thinking in freaking Minecraft they have evil mobs called the Drowned or whatever, which are people that come back from life. So I just thought that was interesting.
It's said my legendary...
Not really a comparison there. But hey, Minecraft is modern lore. Okay.
Ancestor, the Grey King, waged war upon the Storm God for 1,000 years. With the Drowned God's help, he slew the great sea dragon Naga and used her bones for his hall. After his death, the Storm God tried to wash away any memory of this terrible foe. But his songs fill our halls to this day.
Wow.
It was the Storm God who first blew the Andals to the Iron Islands, to subdue us and turn us from our faith. True, they conquered and killed our king, but in time they forsook their septs for the shore, and their fat septons for the drowned men.
What is a sept again? That's like a religious place, right? Yeah.
The Andals came to us as conquerors.
Is the sept of Baelor? I don't know.
In the end, they drowned. The Ironborn are of the sea, as our god made us, and given to it as our god taught us. We do not fear the storm god's winds or his waves, but you should, for they bring us to you.
Oh, damn. That's badass. I can identify with this lore religion. I fuck with it. The storm god, they don't fear the storm god because the drowned god is on their side. The storm god is their, so even they don't fear their devil, but I guess like people nowadays say like they don't fear the devil either. So I'm making comparisons here. I'm understanding. The Great Door Rebellion by Rob Stark. Hell yeah, let's hear some Rob.
Dark wings, dark words.
Oh, yeah. Not me thinking Rob Baratheon. No. Robert. No, it's Rob Stark. But I love him too.
I was only a boy when the Raven came to call my father, Lord Eddard Stark, to another war. Balon Greyjoy had raised the Iron Islands in revolt and burned the Lannister fleet at anchor. King Robert Baratheon again needed his old friend.
Yep.
My mother...
And we know what happened in the last time he needed his old friend.
Catelyn was not happy to lose her lord husband to Robert again.
Poor Catelyn.
6 years before, he had left her to avenge his father and brother against the Mad King.
So is this during the time that Rob got Jon's mom pregnant? That could be, because now I know John is the... It makes sense that John is younger, but yeah.
But now he had sons and daughters of his own, and unspoken. Another son who wasn't heard.
That was definitely before then, because he wouldn't have multiple sons. That would be John. Okay.
From the last time he went to war. My brother, Jon Snow. But she knew that in marrying my father, she had married the North. We hold our honor and duty as dear as our old gods.
Yep.
When the time came, my father marched south to restore peace and order to the realm.
I love the colors here.
My father always told me the Iron Islands were a strange and dangerous place. Its people, the Ironborn, keep neither the old gods nor the Seven, and despise all honest toil. Their ancestors ravaged the western shores, raping and slaving and putting it to the torch, and their songs still ring through the halls of the Ironborn, while everywhere else they are whispered to wayward children at bedtime.
Ooh.
Perhaps Lord Baelon thought Westeros had not healed from the war against the Mad King, and was as fragmented and suspicious as the ancient kingdoms his forebears had terrorized. Robert's navy corrected him at Fair Isle when they smashed the proud Iron Fleet. Robert and my father corrected him at Pike, his own castle, when they pulled down his towers and breached his walls.
Damn.
My father never liked to speak of his battles, but from other men I learned what transpired. Thoros of Myr was first through the breach with his flaming sword.
Oh, so we're getting to hear the exact breakdown of what happened. Thoros of Myr, got it.
Thoros of Myr was first through the breach with his flaming sword.
Yeah.
Not far behind him was Jorah Mormont of Bear Isle.
It's also cool seeing the different ways the artists interpret the drawings, because that flaming sword is definitely a little different looking than the previous one. Cool.
Burst through the breach with his flaming sword. Not far behind him was Jorah Mormont of Bear Island, my father's bannerman who earned the knighthood he would later shame, and lords from every corner of the Seven Kingdoms. All day, through every passage in the castle, they fought side by side. My father with our ancestral sword Ice, and King Robert with his warhammer against a horde of axe-wielding Ironborn. In the end, Lord Baelon bent the knee. King Robert generously allowed Lord Baelon to retain his title and castle. The price of peace was custom. The only son of Baelon's to survive this foolish rebellion would be taken as a hostage against future treasons.
You know what? I think about it, and that is
My father even
a pretty fair, like, you know what? We're gonna take, rather than take control, like leaving him in charge of Pike. Like that's pretty. I can respect him for
to
that.
foster the boy himself. I suspect to make Theon Greyjoy a different man than his father, who would bring honor and duty to the Iron Islands when he returned as heir. So my mother's silent fear came true, and my father returned with another child.
Yeah. Poor Catelyn. I didn't even think about that.
Theon ate with us, played with us, and fought with us. Once the great bond between my father and Robert Baratheon united the realm against the Mad King and brought him to justice for his crimes. Now, another monster sits on the Iron Throne, and another debt of blood is owed my family. Theon is my murdered father's ward. I am my murdered father's son.
Theon is my murdered father. Yeah.
Like my father and Robert, bound in blood, if not by blood, we are brothers.
Damn. Yeah, so all this is like set up for season 2, so maybe, yeah, it's interesting. This may have been good to watch before season 2. Y'all let me know. Going forward, we might just do the lores ahead of time. Or at least like halfway through the season or something creative like that. Karth. Yeah! Zaro's on Daxos. Finally, we're getting some Karth lore. I love it. Let's go.
Karth has always and only belonged to the Karthine. We were never part of Valeria's empire, nor have we ever fallen to a Dothraki horde.
Wow.
Our walls and the red waste outside them guard us from such annoyance. Many call the approach to our city the Garden of Bones. It needs little tending to grow. Our city, however, would be quite a prize for any empire. Karth straddles two worlds.
It gives me like, what is it called? Like Mount Olympus vibes, but without like the god like people or whatever. Very much Grecian Greek vibes.
Greedy and curious west,
Roman.
and a rich and mysterious east. The marvels of Yiti and Ashai pass through our markets and share berths with the riches of the free cities and Westeros. Our ports have fulfilled many a trader's dreams, almost as
Didn't
many
you come
as
from
they
the
have
ports,
broken.
boy?
We call Karth the greatest city that ever was or will be. An easy claim to make if one knows only the docks and customs houses of other cities. An easy lie to swallow if a people see only the gold and jewels of their rulers.
Not the dark
which
underbelly.
we, the 13 who govern the city, are careful to ensure. The proud Kartheen shook off the yoke of unjust kings long ago, so they are told at festivals by the pureborn, the king's direct descendants who have controlled the 13 ever since.
So, yes, that's bullshit. I was about to ask him that. Answered it for me. So they're supposed to be democratic, more democratic than kings, but the people that, or the descendants of the kings, are still in control in ways. So it's literally, they're like figureheads for the king's dynasty still ruling or whatever. Because I was going to ask if the 13 are elected by the different groups that they represent, but even if they are, just kind of like it is in America at least, like we're elected, but then they still just do the profits or benefit the people that fill their cups with wine or their sacks with gold, you know.
Only now, instead of scepters, they use ships. A merchant only remains on the 13 until the others are no longer afraid to deny him, or too afraid to deny his replacement.
Let me hear that one more time.
He remains on the 13 until the others are no longer afraid to deny him, or too afraid to deny his replacement.
I feel like that sentence is wrong, but maybe I'm understanding it wrong. Fuck it. I don't
Except for the warlocks. They alone hold a hereditary seat. A relic from when they had powers, or at least from when the world was younger and more easily duped. Over the years...
We exceed their powers. This motherfucker in a group of people cloned himself and was in front of other people. They're not like our modern magicians. They're not the Carbonaro effect. They're like some real magic shit. And hey, I guess I'm easily duped.
Years we have developed an understanding with them. They shall always be welcome on our councils and at affairs of state, provided they never come. Rare is the civic problem that can be solved by cryptic nonsense and shade of the evening. Thankfully, they need little encouragement to confine themselves to their House of the Undying.
Yep.
Yet perhaps we Kartheen are too confined ourselves.
See, that's the interesting thing, because it would be cool to watch this at the beginning of the season, but also this is spoilers. Like I didn't know about Karth until a couple episodes into the season, so and I like to think of myself as somewhat smart, or at least good at pattern recognition, so I would be able to like guess, oh, this will show up probably in this plot point if we're talking about the Dothraki scene. Yeah, see, as soon as I heard the Sea of Bones, so yeah, it's like I don't want any spoilers. So yeah, I think we're doing good with the way we're doing it right now. All right.
We feel safe behind our walls and our laws, which no visitor can hope to follow, and by which any citizen who vouches for a guest always pays with his life.
What's up, Brady?
But like a ship in the summer seas, a city grows becalmed without fresh wind.
Coming up?
The greatest city that ever was or will be, an epitaph. I would prefer the greatest city that is.
Was or will be, that is. So Zaro is more, I guess, more, yeah, he's not as much into the whole lore and history of the place. He's into what it is now and making the most of, you know, his place where he sits, or sat. I don't know, currently sits, because he's in a fucking locked underground, probably starving to death. I'm saying he's probably going to end up eating the girl that betrayed Khaleesi. How dare she? Or she eats him first. Who knows? The Warlocks by Zoro, Zoan, Daxos. Alright, tell us about them and their power. I mean,
The East
we only saw one of them, and he's dead.
is plagued with mystics who claim many dread powers but prove only one. Separating the foolish from their purses.
Can I get some understanding for why we're supposed to think, like, why he's so diminishing and, like, hand-wavy to them? Because, motherfucker, they had powers. We saw it. Hey, guy.
Not so with the renowned...
And it's silly, too, because he ended up... Was that just a subversion, or him trying to draw away his alliance with the Warlocks, maybe? Or, yeah.
Warlocks of Karth. They demand a much dearer coin in return for their parlor tricks.
Wait a fucking second. Are there multiple guys with the same face? I thought that was just one guy with the power to change faces. Maybe that's just the art style here, that maybe they're using their magic turns them, you know, kind of to look like that, kind of like the Sith in Star Wars.
Respect. Once, the Warlocks truly were mighty, or so they would have us believe. I do not doubt they have many secrets. They are an old order, and one does not obtain a seat on the 13, the governing council of Karth, without making 12 of our most powerful citizens afraid to forbid it. Thankfully...
So that's kind of what that sentence was implying. Or like, yeah, basically, you once not allowing you on the 13 would be like a danger to the people on the 13. Yeah, then they're like, all right. So I'm guessing, was Zoro one of the last people allowed on the 13 or whatever? Because he took his coup attempt real quick. And wait, now who's in charge of Karth? Is that gonna? I never even thought to ask that, but now that the 13 are killed, the Warlock was killed, and Zoro is locked in the cell underneath. That'll be interesting to see what it's like in Karth after. Maybe we'll address that in season 3.
The Warlocks exert little influence in our politics. They rarely leave the confines of the House of the Undying. A pompous name, but
I wouldn't too if I could make whole worlds happen in there. And it is a pompous name because they did die. But if I could, literally make a makeshift world where any of my wishes came true, like, I wouldn't know what to do with that power, and I don't think I would want that power.
A strange and dark tower.
I would until I wouldn't.
It is said that none who enter ever leave. Of course, since there are no visible doors, I have to believe none ever enter either. We can only imagine what the Warlocks do inside. I wager we do not have to imagine much. They read dusty scrolls detailing their lost glory. They sip shade of the evening, a foul concoction brewed from the nearby trees, until their lips turn blue, the better to frighten children and the ignorant. Stewing in their fantasies like an old soldier who drinks alone so no one may challenge their prowess.
That's your assumption.
Whatever
they
the
literally have the power
wish, their magic,
it's like
all magic.
It's like the Mind Palace power from, I don't know if y'all saw the boy spinoff. It's in the original Boys, but also Gen V or whatever. The power that spoilers for Gen V. One of the character has to like literally like put you through different memories or like put your mind in. That's what I felt like what happened with that little trip thing they put Khaleesi through at the end of the season. So yeah, I just think it's like having a holodeck basically. Yeah.
Is dead in the world, if it ever existed. Though, one does hear strange whispers of late. Glass candles that have been cold for 100 years, now burning. Ghost grass, found far from the lands of the shadow. A Khalasar led by a woman with 3 heads. Traders...
Khalasar run by a woman. So I guess they didn't have a problem with about her being a Khaleesi. A Khalasar is a kingdom. Khalasar run by woman with 3 heads. I want to see it. We're not going to, but I want to see it.
Nonsense, most likely. But should the Warlock's vaunted magic ever return, that would...
And also, does that make you more powerful? Like, if we think about it, like, I would argue... Well, there's actual people with... So let me stop. Let me not.
Be a dangerous day for Karth. I shall need to keep my eyes on them. Indeed.
Indeed. Yeah. So like, it's weird. I guess they intended this for us to be seen by people that haven't watched the season yet, but also like it is a little spoilery and isn't it as well. Interesting stuff.
At its height, the Valyrian freehold ruled over half the known world.
Whoa, wait.
Bad for
what was the name of this? The Free Cities by Jorah Mormont. Let me just check to make sure I'm still recording, by the way. Free Cities by Jorah Mormont. We're recording. Was I? I always second guess. Yeah, there's a red dot. Alright. The Free Cities by Jorah Mormont. Okay. Is that where Mormont is from?
The Valyrian freehold ruled over half the known world. Not bad for former shepherds. But the doom fell on them and sank their capital into the sea.
Damn it.
Now Volantis is the ember of old Valyria, ensuring its flame does not go out from this world, as any Volantine will tell you. Pentoshi say the same about Pentos, Lycines about Lys, and so on. But after enough time in the 9 free cities, it's hard to see them as anything but ashes of glory. Damn. Volantis is the oldest, the first colony of Valyria. After the Doom, the Volantines tried to rebuild the Empire under their rule.
So the Doom, was that when it was like... They showed it being destroyed by a dragon, but isn't that the one that we don't know how it was destroyed? Because like the Valyrians... I remember that being the case in The Last Lord, but maybe I'm misremembering that.
They failed. Not least because the last Valyrian with dragons, Aegon Targaryen, entered the war against them. Now they are content to dominate only their lower classes. Or so they say. Braavos is the strangest. A city erected not by the freehold, but against it. A labyrinth of illusion and deceit to hide the refugees from Valyria's slave lords.
Braavos holds refugees from Valyria's slave holders. And so that's who Lord Mormont was. That's what he did. He was a slaveholder, right?
After the Doom, the city emerged from the shadows to become one of the greatest banking centers in the world. A man can get anything in Braavos.
Okay.
For a price.
Is that where he talked about getting the... Mormont, Jorah talked about going to get the boats for Khaleesi, if I remember right?
Especially death. Your own if you offend one of the swaggering swordsmen that pollute the city. Or, if you're very rich, or very desperate, anyone else's. Lys is the easiest of the free cities, full of pleasure houses catering to every taste, no matter how peculiar. Many men lose themselves in Lys and are never found, at least alive. When a man runs out of coin, the Lycines may grant him their other speciality on the house: poison. Pentos is the most ruthless. The Magisters make a great show of choosing the Prince of Pentos from the great families and granting him the powers of trade, justice, and war, as long as he checks with them first. On the new year, to bring good fortune to Pentos, this prince must deflower the Maid of the Field and the Maid of the Seas. I confess I don't know how each is chosen, or what becomes of them after serving their purpose. But if a crop should fail or a war be lost, the Magisters will slit the prince's throat and choose another.
Damn.
The other free cities are known for what they make. Mia has its lenses and finery. Norvos, its axes.
I'm not writing down all 9. I'm sorry, y'all.
Quohor, its smiths who can reforge Valyrian steel.
Ooh.
Tyrosh.
So reforge. Okay.
Its colors.
Who has something that's Valyrian steel in the show? Is Jon's weapon Valyrian steel? Because that would make sense, because Lord Mormont is the father of Jorah.
Sure, Lorath had something to the world, but I can't think of it. Frankly, the 9 of them are more alike than they would care to admit. They hire the same soldiers to fight the same wars for the same rulers, the rich, be they called Magisters, Archons, or what have you.
Yeah.
When a Dothraki Khalasar approaches, they gift the same tribute to avoid the same sacking.
Damn.
For thousands of years, the disgraced of Westeros have drained east to pool in the free cities, where a man of honor counts for less than nothing. unless it raises his price. Better men than I have learned that what a man sells for gold, he can never buy back. He must earn it.
What a man sells for gold, he can never buy back. He must earn it. My brain, I feel like I'm back in school. I was pretty good at analyzing literature, but some of these got me stumped. Cool. I someone get it. Also, this is a nice picture of a cow.
Far and
That's Drogo, right? It's supposed to be. Robert's Rebellion by Stannis. Did we already see this? I guess not. Alright, here we go. Robert's Rebellion.
My brother Robert Baratheon had raised the banners
that
of
was the
Storm's End, our ancestral castle, against the mad King Aerys. Jon Arryn of the Vale and Eddard Stark of the North stood with him, and Hoster Tully of the Riverlands would join. But their lands were far from ours, and separated by the combined strength of the West, the Reach, and King's Landing itself. Even Robert's own lords were against him. It was the hardest choice I've ever made. My brother or my king. Blood or honor. Aerys ruled by right of all the laws in Westeros. Everyone knew the price of defiance, but there are deeper, older laws. The younger brother bows before the elder. I followed Robert.
So he followed allegiance to his family rather than allegiance to the old ways. I respect that.
Early in the war, Mace Tyrell's indecisive victory at Ashford cut Robert off from Storm's End. Instead of pursuing Robert and risking his record, Mace Tyrell turned east and laid siege to our home. His vast army and navy encircled us and prevented any resupply by land.
And that's when the Onion Knight came through.
If a wagon tried to reach us, it was burnt. If a ship tried to land, it was sunk. We were locked in Storm's End to starve. But Robert commanded me to hold the castle no matter the cost. He could ill afford to lose his ancient seat, which had never fallen.
Yeah, just like, has Winterfell fallen before? We haven't talked about that in the lore, because that's what happened with Winterfell. I still don't know what the hell happened. Why it was all smoky and shit. I can't even theorize, because I have no clue. I'm just missing information.
While Robert smashed Rhaegar on the Trident, my men ate the dogs, because the horses had already been devoured.
I remember.
While the Lannisters sacked King's Landing, we ate the rats. If the smuggler Davos had not slipped through the Tyrell blockade with his onions,
hell yeah,
we'd have eaten our own dead. But I held the castle until Lord Eddard remembered us and marched.
Wait, so were they able to grow the onions in the castle? I don't understand how the layout of the castle works, because I don't know if anybody can hold enough onions on their body to feed what I would assume would be hundreds of men inside the castle, right inside Storm's End. But yeah, I guess they grew the onions.
To lift the siege. The Tyrells didn't even put up a fight. And Robert threw a feast.
Oh, the Tyrells. That's what I was reading earlier at the beginning of the reaction. Yeah, the Tyrells that came to celebrate
Lord Eddard's victory. I was sent to the Royal Island stronghold of Dragonstone to deal with Viserys and Daenerys, the last surviving Targaryen children. Before I arrived, however, they escaped.
Oh, he just pronounces it weird. I was Viserys and Daenerys. Viserys and Daenerys. I feel like I'm rapping. Viserys and Daenerys. Always so serious. Let me stop.
It's the narrow sea.
What's up, baby?
Robert was furious.
Sleepy.
He stripped me of Storm's End and gave it to that prancing fool Renly.
Hey!
That
has some undertones, alright? Respect Renly, alright?
Younger brother.
Prancing.
I could keep Dragonstone. Now Robert is dead, and a bastard pretender soils my throne while the realm fills with schemers and traitors.
That is your
but
brother.
The rightful king is coming for them all, and I will not stop until I have scoured this land clean of abomination. The Baratheons say, Ours is the fury. I will show them. Fury burns.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, Stannis embodies a lot of... I feel like Robb is very pragmatic. Stannis is his family's son to a fault. Like, he protected his family, and then he realized, I guess, as he got older in age, he's like, you know what? I didn't get what was earned of me for being so loyal to my family. I'm taking it. And I guess he took it out on Renly. But seriously, like, I don't know. I guess he woke up and just did a hard 180. Robert's Rebellion by Catelyn Stark from her perspective. Okay.
Family. Duty.
Yeah, the Tullys.
Honor. Every Tully child learns our words. But I was a woman before I understood them. Years before, my father had taken to foster the son of a wartime friend, a minor lord on the Fingers. The boy had arrived at our castle as Peter Baelish. Due to his home and size, my brother soon named him Littlefinger.
Oh, wow. So we're getting that background. I need to go back. I want to understand this. Because I know he loves her.
My father had taken to foster the son of a wartime friend, a minor lord on the Fingers. The boy had arrived...
yeah, now I remember the finger. That's
at our castle as Peter Baelish. Due to his home and size, my brother soon named him Littlefinger. When I came of age, Brandon Stark of Winterfell sought and won my hand. To my father, Brandon was heir to the north and a suitable match for a daughter of House Tully. To me, Brandon was wild and terrifying, never far from laughter or trouble. I loved him with all the fire of a first passion.
Like that wild streak.
Much I came to realize, as Peter loved me.
Yeah.
When Peter heard...
Damn, he's just a sulky little bitch. But he's Snape. He's Snape. Littlefinger is Snape.
My engagement, he challenged Brandon to a duel. Peter survived only because I begged Brandon not to kill him.
Not him laughing. That looks like a fucking meme. Not him. Littlefinger. Ay. So he's a cuck. I'm pretty sure I've said this in earlier reactions, but not me feeling bad for Snape or Littlefinger. God.
Out of Peter's family.
Ay.
Now, I wish I had let him die.
Damn.
Only days before my wedding, when I thought to be happy forever, Prince Rhaegar Targaryen abducted Brandon's sister, Lyanna. Hot-blooded as always, Brandon immediately rode for...
Sorry.
Days before my wedding, when I thought to be happy forever, Prince Rhaegar Targaryen abducted Brandon's sister, Lyanna. Hot-blooded as always, Brandon immediately rode for King's Landing to demand justice, which the Mad King Aerys Targaryen gave him, in his own twisted fashion.
Yeah, he was like burning
him. The day
him.
the Raven arrived with the...
Was he burning him, or he burned Ned's dad and he would die by like the choking rope thing? I remember that. Fucked up.
News of my Brandon's death.
Up.
I locked myself in a room and refused to eat for days. Until my father reminded me of my duty.
Ugh.
I was to marry Eddard, Brandon's younger brother.
Ned.
A man whom I had never met.
Oh.
Though of whom none spoke ill.
Okay.
Or spoke anything at all. Our union would cement an alliance of the North, Vale, Stormlands, and Riverlands in rebellion against the Mad King.
Good.
I was a Tully. I did my duty.
So that even highlights even more why she's so, wants Robb to keep his, he's planned to marry one of Filch's daughters or whatever, so she wants him to keep that, and he defied it. He was getting married instead. I mean, she defied him too. Everybody's actions make a lot of sense in the show. I will continue to say that.
Quickly, and was spared only one night before he had to return to the field. I spent the war by the windows waiting for a raven to hear if my son would grow up fatherless or at all. We knew the price of defeat. I scoured the kitchens and washing rooms for any and all gossip. Robert had won and crushed the Mad King. Robert had lost, but Jaime Lannister was now king. Robert had almost won, but the Mad King had become a dragon and burned King's Landing to ash. At night, I told...
It's so cool hearing how hyperbolized, the events that took place are from different people's perspective in the world. Very realistic, just like it is in real life. Except now we're in the information age, so you can relatively find the truth of events, but even then, it depends.
Myself, the war would end soon and bring peace. Either a victory or the grave. I was wrong. Robert won, and my husband avenged his brother and my love. But when he came home to me, he could not meet my eyes.
Damn, Ned.
I saw the reason by his side.
Oh, the baby. Okay. So we had a baby during... Wow. Wow, they just married, bro. What the fuck, Ned? God damn, bro.
Many men
Keep it in your trousers.
have bastards, I know. And under the strain of war, any man, no matter how honorable, may forsake his vows for a night of warmth that he may never know again.
Hey, I have not been to war, but still, girl, stand up, Catelyn. You deserve better. But also, family duty honor, I get it.
But Ned Stark was not built like other men. His northern honor would not let him sequester his shame in some distant holdfast. He brought this boy, this Jon Snow, home to raise with his true-born children.
I guess that is the most honorable outcome you could have from cheating on your wife. I guess, but it's still like kind of rubbing it in her face. Yeah. It's complex. It's a complex situation.
My children. Yet even these bitter memories are sweet now. They are all I have left of my Ned. Our family is broken and scattered. And our son must wage a war for the pieces.
Yeah, I want Arya back.
We need to go home. The Starks are of the north, and, like the snows of winter when they come south, they melt away.
Robert's Rebellion by Davos Seaworth. Oh! Okay, yeah. Davos's whole arc, I don't know what I wasn't getting at the point of it in the last season, because it was so short. I guess kind of like showing the futility of putting all your honor and worth behind somebody that would just throw you away and not care about it. I think Stannis did seem to show care for him. He had that whole speech about the whole Onion Knight and all the stuff like that. Like, hey, I don't care about your family's lineage. You're a badass. But still, I guess it's kind of showing the folly of how, the fury that Stannis has, as well as blind loyalty and following. Still don't know what's going on with Lady Melisandre either. Interesting stuff.
In King's Landing, if you leave the Red Keep and aren't careful, you may find yourself in Flea Bottom.
Flea Bottom.
In such a cesspool did House Seaworth have its glorious start. I got out as soon as I could, finding work on a smuggler's ship. Soon, every port on the narrow sea had a bounty on me, which they would collect if I didn't pay a percentage to the right people or pick the right tides. You know how to tell a good smuggler? When you talk to one, there's a head that talks back. I was very good. Davos of Flea Bottom had run with orphans and beggars, but Davos the smuggler was received by merchants and lords when nobody would catch them. Oddly, the only honest work came from pirates, like the notorious bloodthirsty Salador San. An old friend. All he ever wanted was someone to buy his cargo quickly before the tide left, and sell it without telling where I got it. In time, I saved enough to buy a small plot of land and found a woman who was kind enough to overlook my trade. She gave me a son, Mathos.
Mathos was his name.
And we dreamt of the traders' circle around the Jade Sea. Just one trip and I could settle us and our family for life. Then some Stormlord revolted against...
Come on, I gotta do the meme. One last... Come on, baby. I just got one last game and I'm out. What's the phrase? Every stereotypical every stereotypical thief or guy that's in the bad behavior, like Michael in GTA and all those characters. Yeah, no, I just thought that was funny. I love when I have to over-explain a joke I'm going for because I can't remember the phrasing, but I need you to understand me. Alright, let's go.
The Iron Throne. Wars are not as good for smugglers as you'd think. Every harbour fills with guards and inspectors, and the seas filled with blockades and pirates paid by each side to prey on the other. Though I had no love for the Mad
I never thought about that, but I'm sure that's true for real life, too. Interesting.
King. I'd grown up around the power of King's Landing. I figured this Robert Baratheon would end the same as the other rebel lords, burnt to ash. But he didn't. The North, the Riverlands and the Vale joined him. And in the taverns, people drank to Robert's health openly. Brave fools, I thought. But I had a family who'd be left in the cold if I lost my head. When Mace Tyrell marched on Robert's home of Storm's End, that's by the end of the rebellion, the castle was garrisoned by Robert's younger brother Stannis and a small guard, and would not hold out for long. When it fell, Robert would be homeless, and his support would bleed away. This I knew from experience. Months later,
So Robert made the right
Stannis
decision.
was still holding in the castle. Nobody cared. But on voyages, I had seen what famine does, and I thought of all those men in Storm's End who would die unmourned and forgotten. No better than flea-bottom orphans.
Wow.
I told my wife and myself that I'd get a high price for the onions and salt beef.
So he also, it was honorable, but also he was making like a good connection out of it. Let me listen. Let me stop.
Truth. I knew I'd be captured by the Tyrell galleys or drowned, but I was too stubborn. Later that night, in the dark, in a tiny boat with a black sail, I cursed myself and the moonlight as I waited for the tide to turn. When it did, the wind beat the sail so hard I ripped it down, fearing the Tyrell ships would hear.
Wow.
Luckily, they'd grown lax. With muffled oars alone, I steered my cargo through the treacherous currents and snarls of rock that gave Shipbreaker Bay its name. The waves finally carried me, soaked and near blind from sea water, through the mouth of the cavern beneath the castle.
Yeah.
Then...
And that's where Lady Melisandre... No, that wasn't the Storm's End. Still, it's a parallel. Alright.
Baratheon arrived. The siege had left him gaunt, but not weak, never weak. He greeted me and accepted my onions with cool courtesy.
Yeah, I gotta say, I am very glad that Stannis is still alive, because it would be sad if his story ended there just after... Yeah.
Betraying no emotion, even as all wept. He doled out the food to his wife and each of his men before he ate himself, a portion no larger than any other.
So he does seem like...
When he finally thanked me, I could see his mind had already returned to the castle's defense. His duty. After Ares fell and Lord Stark lifted the siege, Stannis summoned me. For my salvation at Storm's End, I was to be granted a knighthood, a keep of my own, and my son taken into Stannis' personal service. Davos of Flea Bottom had become Sir Davos of House Seaworth, and his son would serve the king's own brother. But for my previous crimes as a smuggler, I was to have the fingertips of one hand taken off above the highest joint.
Wait.
Stannis held that I had fingertips. But for my previous crimes as a smuggler, I was to have the fingertips of one hand taken off above the highest joint. Stannis held that I had flouted the laws of the land for years, and a good act does not wash out the bad. In one fell swoop.
I'm trying to imagine what it'd be like to have this thing. I mean, you could still get some work done. But still, that's such a weird...
5. Stannis gave my son a future and my family a name that I could never have imagined, nor earned on my own. I still keep the finger bones in a bag around my neck to remind me what I was and what I owe to Stannis.
So that's what they were talking about in that scene in episode 8. I didn't get that.
For during my many years as a smuggler, I visited many ports, taverns and back alleys, and saw many things in this world, but never justice. Until Stannis.
Robert's Rebellion. Alright, then we're getting the Tyrell's view of the Majory. Who's now gonna be dating Joffrey. God, I can't wait to start season 3. I said that already. I'm just taking all that in. That was really cool. Onion Knight. Yeah, it's just... I guess some people don't get a resolution to their story, and I guess that's what it's kind of emphasizing. That story. Yeah. I don't know. There's probably some more stuff
Some
there.
great houses call us upstarts. But the truth is that while the Starks and Lannisters fell to the Targaryens in defeat, House Tyrell rose. For thousands of years, our family served as loyal stewards to the kings of the Reach, until the last of their line unwisely burned to death, resisting the Targaryen invaders. To save the Reach from a similar fate, we yielded the castle of Highgarden to Aegon and his sisters. In gratitude, the Targaryens gave House Tyrell dominion over the Reach. And we became lords of the
Tyrell's house. Cover the Reach. I'm gonna look up a map with all the... I gotta be careful.
castle in which,
We'll see.
for generations, we had served. Under the Targaryen dynasty, Westeros prospered. Gone were the petty wars of 7 kingdoms and the endless thirst for minor glories that drove them. The Westerlands enriched the realm. The North guarded it. And the Reach and Riverlands fed it. This harmony is what Robert
that's why it's
Baratheon
called
shattered with his rebellion against Aerys Targaryen. When the call to arms came, though, we did not want to answer. The Reach is a gentle land, and honestly, the Mad King was not much loved. But we owed peace and status to his family. My father, Mace Tyrell, called his banners and
So that makes sense why the Tyrells want to go help. No, that it actually doesn't. Yeah, no, yeah. Why they're helping the Lannisters now? I don't know. They go with who. I don't know. Marjorie wanted power, so I guess that's why they did what they
marched
did.
north to battle the
Helping out the
rogue
Lannisters.
Stormlord Robert, who had already defeated 3 forces in a single day. And, at Ashford, my father won. Some chastened my father for not pursuing Robert after the battle. We had cut him off from the Stormlands, the seat of his power, and he had fled north, within easy grasp of Lord Tywin Lannister, the Hand of Aerys, for 20 years. My father moved instead to lay siege to Robert's ancestral stronghold of Storm's End. The rose would strangle the stag as the lion pounced. So we waited. But the lion slumbered, and Robert slipped past the king's forces to join Ned Stark. We could have lifted the siege and deployed our armies north to aid the crown. We could have stormed the walls of the castle and made Robert homeless. But we had ample supplies, control of land and sea, and most of all, patience.
Ooh.
Our siege would succeed, eventually, at little cost of life to us.
So there.
If Robert prolonged the
some
war
smart
with minor
guys.
victories, our capture of Storm's End would hasten his downfall. And if Robert won the war, well, it would not do for him to find us in his halls with the bodies of his brother Stannis and his sworn men. When the lion finally showed his colors and purged King's Landing, we knew our cause was lost. My father chose the peaceful route and bent the knee to Robert, who
Okay.
heartily pardoned us. Strange, considering how we'd beaten him and starved his brother to the brink of death. We were to keep our
That is so tactical. Like, yeah, just keeping him close to death without, in case, like, if he does win, playing both sides in a way. If he does win, we don't want to have killed his brother. He's super smart, honestly. I love hearing everybody's different sides of the events that took place.
lands, castle, and title. But we knew that we would never be welcome at court. It didn't matter. The Reach was still the most fertile of the 7 kingdoms, and under our hand. Every flower, even the rose, needs pruning. Then it grows strong.
Nice. Alright, so is their sigil, is Tully's sigil like a flower then? But yeah, that gave me a lot of understanding, a lot of flowery metaphors going on there. But that was cool. It helps me understand the Marjories, the Tyrells a little bit better. And yeah, was that not what the title of the last one was? Oh, that was about the rebellion. All right, here's House Tyrell. Tell us, Marjorie. Let us know.
House Tyrell trace our descent to Garth Greenhand, the legendary first king of the Reach who made the land bloom. But so too does every noble house around us. It seems dear ancestor Garth planted as many flowers as he plucked.
Okay.
A king should have more consideration for his line, don't you think? For over 1,000 years...
No, so she just wants to see her people. So they've been, you know, they've been the rising tide that raises all the ships around them. And now Marjorie just wants to see her people get hers.
Years, the Greenhand sons and grandsons ruled...
Again, amazing art going on here. This is, I love it.
...the Reach as House Gardener. The offshoots
it's
of
like kind of
daughters...
like a tapestry. There's just like the stitching look of like the patterning in the background and such.
...grew into vast and powerful houses in their own right, except for House Tyrell. We chose instead to serve our gardener cousins faithfully as stewards, to manage their stronghold of Highgarden and the daily affairs of the Reach. Our words are growing strong, and under our stewardship the Reach did just that, as did we, until a blundering king almost cost us everything. Aegon Targaryen had landed in Westeros. King Mern allied us with the Rock to repel the upstart's army. One can only marvel that King Mern did not reconsider when he saw the living dragons against him. Perhaps he should have sought counsel from his trusted stewards before he set out. Then again, perhaps he did. At the Field of Fire, Aegon, and let us not forget, his sisters, burnt the combined armies of the Reach and Rock. King Mern paid for his misjudgment with his life and that of his ancient family. In a day, the Reach had lost its king, its ruling house, and most of its army. Thankfully for everyone, my ancestor, Harlan Tyrell, had better sense. Until the Maesters sorted out the intel among Mern's cousins, Harlan the Steward was acting Lord of Highgarden. To ensure peace and life in the Reach, he would yield the castle to Aegon.
Okay.
The other castles and families would then follow, as they had since the Dawn Age. Aegon had a continent to conquer, and the fertile Reach was too valuable.
I'm sorry, his fucking face. Why does he look like the King of the Vampires from Adventure Time? That like lion-looking dude.
To raise. He accepted Harlan's proposal and welcomed our lands into his kingdom. To show his gratitude, Aegon entitled Harlan to Highgarden, the castle his family had served for 1,000 years, and made House Tyrell his wardens of the south, choosing us over older, greater families in the Reach. Our house thus owed everything to the Targaryens. So is it any wonder we stayed true to King Aerys, even during his madness, and even after Robert Baratheon rebelled? Some may question my father for laying siege to the Baratheons' home, instead of marching to aid Prince Rhaegar before Robert could kill him and scatter the royal army.
True.
But let us not forget that we had already dealt Robert his only defeat of the war at Ashford. If Lord Tywin Lannister had not vanquished the Mad King so suddenly, our siege would have destroyed Robert's home and his brothers, and won the war for Aerys. But when the Targaryens fell, House Tyrell again chose
Jeez, why do his
peace
hands look
and
like that?
prosperity over war and devastation, and bent the knee to King Robert Baratheon, first of his name. We returned to Highgarden to manage the affairs of the Reach, as we had for thousands of years, and will.
Highgarden. Also, I love the high walls of the. I hope we get to see Highgarden. All we saw was, yeah, we haven't seen the Tyrell's place yet, but I loved how that castle looks. Very tactical. Again, I've said that word like a million times now.
1,000 more. Other great houses take lions and wolves for their sigils, and draw their power from the gold in their mountains or the cold of their winters. But mountains run dry. Winter yields to spring. And the rose blooms once more.
So they're definitely the rose. Okay. I was going to say, I thought sigils had to be a living thing, but big surprise. Who would have thought? Plants are living things too, of course. Silly Sputnik. Yeah, cool. I think I get them. Dragonstone by Stannis Baratheon. Let's get it.
Nobody knows why the Targaryens first came to the island of Dragonstone. Old Valyria was then at the height of its power and the center of the civilized world, which ended at the Narrow Sea. Westeros was a filthy backwater with 7 kings squabbling over borders and minor glories. So much for progress. The island itself was and is nothing. It had no gold or gems to lure Valyrian nobility. All it has is rock. Mostly a shiny black stone, too brittle for war and too sharp for building. The Targaryens called it dragon glass.
Oh, dragon glass. That's what... Is that what... Wow. I'm finally learning stuff. That's what, John's friends found in the snow up in the north, right? Dragon glass, when they found those old, stuff in the clothes, right? Buried in the clothes.
I call it useless. But the Targaryens managed to raise a castle here. Simpletons claim they used ancient Valyrian sorcery, forgetting that the Targaryens brought a small army with them from Essos. There's no magic in strong backs. Though admittedly the castle is unlike any in Westeros. Foreign and strange. If the Targaryens
Have
ever
we seen Dragonstone? I remember seeing it on the map, but I don't remember seeing it in this show thus far. What took place there in season 2?
Their barren outpost and longed for the comforts of home. The doom made their folly permanent. Valyria collapsed into the waves and was no more. To look east was to see the ruin of their homeland, the greatest civilization before or since. But to look west, as Aegon realized, was to see a fertile land ripe for conquest. Perhaps even a new Valyria. Though good for little else, Dragonstone was the perfect staging point for Aegon's invasion of Westeros. The Blackwater Bay granted easy access to the continent. The lands there were disputed by 3 kingdoms: the Reach, the Iron Islands, and the Stormlands. But their capitals were far enough away that none could mount a force before Aegon got a foothold. Even if their kings had been able to stop bickering over whose problem he was. Then it was too late.
Wow.
Aegon had chosen his first camp well. With the bay to the east, the river to the south, and open fields to the north and west, his army would be impossible to take by surprise. A perfect site for an invasion, and one day, his capital city. King's Landing.
Whoa.
The Doom had taught the Targaryens the prudence of refuge. After the conquest...
I love how names also seem like so, like, ethereal to us until you hear the lore and it's like King's Landing. Oh, duh. Of course, that's why it would be called King's Landing.
Dragonstone became the seat of the Crown Prince and heir to the Iron Throne. It would serve them well, and me ill, 300 years later, after my brother Robert Baratheon rebelled against the Iron Throne and the Lannisters slaughtered the Mad King Aerys and his royal family. Robert dispatched me to deal with the last surviving Targaryen children. But before I arrived, a loyal knight smuggled them across the Narrow Sea to safety. Hatred for the Targaryens blinded Robert. Unjustly, I was blamed and stripped of our family's castle of Storm's End. Hatred for the Targaryens blinded Robert. Unjustly, I was blamed.
Yeah, why though?
And stripped of our family's castle of Storm's End and given Dragonstone in its stead. Over the years, whenever I demanded...
Oh, duh, that's where Dragonstone... Oh, of course, Dragonstone is where Stannis was. In case I forget. yeah, the beaches and also if we didn't see much, of course he'd be talking about it because we didn't see much of it. It was all shrouded in darkness. I feel like every scene about him was in dark. We just see that cool room where he what's his name that dude tried to poison Lady Melisandre. Yeah, we didn't get to see much of how weird he says it is, but I'm interested to see more of it.
Rights restored, Robert would remind me of the island's royal pedigree and pretend he was doing me honor. As if I were one of his tavern girls to be so easily deceived and dismissed. But Robert is dead, and I, Stannis Baratheon, am the rightful king of Westeros.
Yep.
Let the usurpers and traitors sit on the Iron Throne. From Dragonstone, I will be the dagger at their throat.
Damn, boy. Yeah, that's cool. He is, he's very spiteful. He has the fury, as we've said before. House Clegane by, Sandor Clegane. Is that the by icon, by king?
Honor, glory, lies to make idiot boys want night.
No. Clegane, oh no, duh. He's, I'm thinking of the random dude. No, Clegane is the wolf. I know he's the Mountain's little brother. All right, I know. House Clegane. This is interesting lore.
Honor, glory, lies to make idiot boys want knighthood, and idiot girls spread their legs for it.
Damn, he's jaded as fuck already. Damn.
Let me tell you what makes a knight.
What?
Killing.
Okay.
Either enough men or the right man. House Clegane should know. We're very good at both.
Damn.
Most families claim some great ancestor so far back that nobody can prove them liars. Not us. My grandfather kept the kennel for Lord Titus Lannister of Casterly Rock, the father of Lord Tywin. Lord Titus was a weak man who didn't know it. One day while hunting, he stumbled on a lioness. Instead of embracing the man who wore her on his banners, she tried to tear out his throat.
Huh?
Lucky my grandfather came up with the dogs and drove the big cat away. Nice. As a reward, the Cleganes got lands and a keep and a son to squire for the Lannisters. We took the 3 hounds who died for them as our new sigil. When Tywin Lannister became Lord of Casterly Rock, he wanted more from his former kennel master than fealty. He bet that training hounds to kill isn't far from training boys to kill. In just 2 generations, my brother Gregor and I proved him right. I gutted my first man at 12.
Damn.
Years after, servants started disappearing in our keep. And even a sister I don't remember. But nobody could prove anything against Gregor. Or dared if they caught him at it. For my father wanted a knight in our family.
Oh, wait. What? Sorry.
But nobody could prove. And even a sister years after kill. Rock. He wanted more from his former kennel master than fealty. He bet that training hounds to kill isn't far from training boys to kill.
Okay, the hounds.
In just 2 generations, my brother Gregor and I proved him right.
Okay.
I gutted my first man at 12. Years after, servants started disappearing in our keep. And even a sister I don't remember.
Damn! So he killed... His big brother killed their sister and a bunch of servants. Jesus.
But nobody could prove anything against Gregor. Or dared if they caught him at it. For my father wanted a knight in our family.
He looks so huge. Bro, in the Walking Dead game I'm playing right now, there's this guy that's stalking me, the main character, that's mad at me, that blames me for his wife's death, that literally has that same exact build. He wears like a helmet like that. He wears it. I ended up killing him though. I stalked him to his base and I killed him, which was interesting. But it's just so cool. He literally looks exactly the same. You can probably see it in the thumbnails of some of my videos. The giant guy. It's very interesting.
And thought he'd found one in Gregor, who at 13 towered over enough men that they called him the Mountain. Damn. Sure, Gregor looks quite the champion from a distance, but a mountain can't cleave a man in half with one blow.
and won't break a wench's face if she talks.
Whoa.
Through Lord Tywin's influence, Prince Rhaegar Targaryen kindly anointed my brother personally. A great honor for our family, everyone said. 1 year later, Sir Gregor chivalrously sacked the prince's city, brained the prince's baby, and raped and murdered the prince's wife, winning our family yet more honor from the new king and queen.
Okay.
Soon after, my father died. They say in a hunting accident. The same day that Gregor became lord of the Clegane lands, gold and anything under his roof, I left our home to take service at Casterly Rock. Lord Tywin is not like his father. Neither is King Joffrey. Or the likes of me would never be on the King's Guard, with all those true knights. Between them, a man who serves the Lannisters will never lack for killing. I'll guard this king, such as he is. Gregor will kill the other ones, such as he does. When we're done, we'll see how many people still believe in songs and fairy tales.
Damn. I just love killing. Basically, he just loves killing. Okay, Halen the Pyromancer. So is this guy the guy that does the audiobooks? One of you fantastic people on the Patreon let me know that Halen, I believe that one of the guys that the guy that was in the keep with all the Greek fire, fire or whatever, voiced the audiobooks. So I'm guessing that's who this is. The Alchemist Guild. So we're gonna get the lore on that. Let's go.
Dragons conquered the Seven Kingdoms, but to rule them, the Targaryens needed a less temperamental tool.
Jesus.
When the great King Maegor saw the power of the Alchemist Guild, he blessed us with his patronage. In those days, we commonly transmuted metals and other wonders, but the king was most interested in our mastery of the substance, which those not of our order dub wildfire.
Okay.
A slight misnomer. To the uninitiated, the substance indeed seems uncontrollable. Water will not extinguish it, nor plate of steel repel it.
What controls it then?
Our order alone knows its secrets. In bare stone cells beneath the guild hall, our acolytes prepare the substance with utmost care and ancient magic. Apprentices then remove the jars to...
Oh, no, son of a bitch.
Such as... Apprentices then remove the jars to a secure storage.
Cool.
Overseeing its purity are the wisdoms, such as myself, who are adept in the alchemical mysteries. Should an acolyte prove unworthy and allow the substance to ignite, the ceilings are spelled to collapse and fill the room with sand. For once lit, only smothering or starvation will quench the fire.
Cool.
Many years did the Alchemist Guild serve the Targaryens faithfully, until we were beset on all sides by the envious, the Order of Maesters, who dismissed all learning but their own. And
this dude's is so engaging. He definitely is the guy that does audio books.
The charlatans who hucked green paint and worse in our names. After the unfortunate Prince Aerion Targaryen, drunk with wine, boasted that a draught of the substance would transmute him into a dragon, we lost our royal favor. Then came the wise King Aerys, second of his name.
Wise.
I was merely an acolyte when he restored our guild to its former glory. As had his great forefathers, he appreciated our secret arts, even naming Wisdom Rossart as Hand of the King. Together, they punished his enemies as befits a true Targaryen. During the War of the Usurper, I heard whispers that King Aerys had engaged our greatest wisdoms for an ultimate weapon against his foe. But sadly, King's Landing must have fallen before it could be used. And
Like a nuke? Like a pyromancer nuke?
many of our wisdoms disappeared in the sack of the city.
I think dragons kind of take the place of like a nuke, just like a world, something that completely unlevels the battlefield. Yeah.
Victims of ignorance and envy, as ever, I'd wager. Yet our order perseveres, like the substance which grows ever more potent as it ages. We perfect our ancient arts in darkness, forgotten by the world. We are masters of the fire, but we live only to serve.
So did Tyrion tell them to
All we
stop?
need is the right spark.
No, sorry, I didn't hear that.
We live only to serve. All we need is the right spark.
Yeah, that was cute. The right spark. Yeah, that guy is so engaging. I could definitely see why the audiobooks. I'm eventually gonna read them. Yo, I've been thinking. I think this is gonna be the last one, by the way. So I'm gonna fit this in here. I want to when I finish the series, which is 8 episodes or seasons, not only 6. So it's gonna take a minute. But when I finish it, I want to do the books. But I decided I kind of wanted to what was it? I wanted to like read them in like quarters or whatever, because I want to like keep the reaction format in a way, and you can't do that with a book. But I was like, what if I like ask y'all what chapters I should stop and give y'all like progress reports on my reading app? Like, I think that'd be fun. Like, if maybe I like cut the book into 4 parts or whatever, and then when I'm done at a certain point, I give my thoughts, and then I get a little bit further in the book and I give my thoughts. And I think that'd be a cool format for a video about it, because just giving a recap of a book is interesting, but I feel like that could be an even more engaging way to do it. So let me know your thoughts. And yeah. Free Folk by Ygritte. This is fun. Man's Radar.
A long time ago, they say, some old southern king enslaved our giants by magic and forced them to build your famous wall. Then he kicked
So
all
the
of my
giants were in the north. I feel like that'd be like the opposite. A cold location for giants. I don't know.
and to the other side and raised an army to keep us there. And we're the uncivilized ones. Wildlings. Might be Sir King was wise. Even a giant can be made to kneel.
Damn.
But only if he wants a better crack at your head. The free folk don't follow a man because his father tells us. If the king's son was brave and strong, aye, we'd follow him as we did his father. If he wasn't... But it seems to me, as much as the wall keeps us out, it keeps you southerners in. You follow laws you didn't make. Kneel to kings you didn't choose, and pray to gods you never hear from.
Damn, she's not wrong. She's not wrong.
Traders talk about your seven. Beyond the wall, the stars shine bright and clear. Any gods there aren't listening to the likes of men.
Damn.
Our gods are of the forest, in the trees that shelter us and the rivers that feed us. They gave the land for all of us to share. We fish, farm, and hunt where we will, when we need. If a man wants a woman, he has to prove he'll give her strong and cunning sons. Now, it's easy. When she tries to slit his throat, he don't let her.
I'm really liking this.
The free folk, you get what you can take, and you keep what you can hold. No more.
It's giving anarchy, kind of anarchist vibes.
I wonder, even if my kind didn't hop over your wall, would he still set your night's watch to guard it? You southerners are rich. You always have more steel, gold, and
so
daughters.
protect it.
I think you're afraid. If you've always knelt, you don't know what freedom is. And if you've not been beyond the wall, you don't know what fear is.
Damn. So is that the monster that we... I didn't see it. It was so dark, but thank you for this sketch of it. Yeah, because in episode 2 or 3, when John was saw that guy going to sacrifice the babies. What is that? Oh, is that like a white but an animal? Possibly, because the glowing eyes. I feel like that's has to do with the White Walkers, or the Whites, as they're said. Come here. You don't want to say goodbye to the people? Come be in the video for the end of the. Come, Babu. Nadia, come. Come, baby girl. Come, dog. Damn it. Come on. She don't want to. All right. I respect your autonomy. That's the end. All right, so we get the Night's Watch by Ygritte. All right, Ygritte. Let us know what you think of the Night's Watch.
Swords in the darkness. Aye. The Black Brothers of the Night's Watch are that, at least. As too many of the free folk know. You Southerners are strange. A man murders, and you train him to kill better. A man thieves or rapes, and you send him where it's dark and private. Well, at least you make him promise to be good.
Wow. Oh, damn. So we're getting the real takedown of the Night's Watch. I feel like this is like a scathing letter in the fucking, like in a newspaper or something like that. A takedown letter. I love it.
Well, then you make him regret even that. From the time he's woken to the time he's allowed to sleep, he walks the frozen wall, carries frozen stones, or boils frozen food. When he lies down at night, he can't have nobody to warm his frozen bed. Well, not unless the crows like to nest together. Do you think he remembers the stories they told him then? About when the White Walkers woke in the land of always winter, and how the wall and the Night's Watch were raised to stop them the next time.
Damn. You look so creepy.
Never mind trapping us on the other side.
Whoa, is that like a sword someone buried in it and is still alive? So those White Walkers are whites. Are White Walkers super strong? I assume.
You folk have our stories too. About how one of your king crows found something cold in the woods, with bright blue eyes. How he brought her home, through your wall, and declared himself Night's King. For 13 years, he and his queen ruled over his brothers, making sacrifices as black as their cloak.
Whoa, this I've never heard of this. The Night's King. Nobody told us about this. King brought a White Walker into the... This is crazy news, guys. White Walker wife. White wife. Walker wife. Into beyond the wall. Beyond the wall. This is insane. Maybe they don't talk about it because it's like
looking for you Southerners. The free folk rallied to a king beyond the wall, as we will when need be, and marched on the ancient castle he'd taken for his own.
Oh.
The Night Fort. With the help of the Starks, we killed the demon and cleansed your precious watch.
Okay,
and then they thanked us and kicked us back across the wall.
Damn.
As you always have.
Whoa.
Gendel, Raymond Redbeard, the Horned Lord, each chosen as a king beyond the wall, each promising victory. And all falling to the Night's Watch and the Starks.
Okay.
But this time is different. Our new king knows your tricks. You called him a brother crow once, but you never forgot his wings. We know how you think. We know where you're weak.
Damn.
Watch for us from your wall if you like. With the cold, you won't even feel the blade slip into your back.
Damn. Alright. That still feels like it's up. Nope, not season 3. Oh my goodness. Well, that's a spoiler for season 3, but it's gonna have us talking about Robert's Rebellions by Peter and Baelish. So I know they're still alive next season. Cool. Wow, that is some huge setup for season 3, though. I feel like everything she just said. Oh my god. Yeah, so I guess I was fully on the side of the Black Brothers, bro. The Night's Watch, and now this is giving me way more understanding. for why, you know, Mance Radar and them might be leading up a revolt against the Wall. Goodness. Everything is so gray in the story. Everybody has some right and wrong to their side. Is there any purely, I guess, yeah, that died with Ned? Those old ways of there being someone that we felt was always in the right. And even him still, like, it was still, there's shades of gray with him. Sorry, y'all. Alright, number one. So I'm just getting ready for season 3 now. I guess I'll discuss that in the season 3 episode 1 video. All this stuff I feel like it wasn't addressed in season 2. All the hanging, I almost said hanging chats, hanging threads. Well, I gotta say this, I really love the lore this time because I feel like everything was just information overload the first time we watched it. But now on season 2, I feel like I understand the characters' perspectives more. And I understand the base understanding of like the events that happen, except for the new stuff we got with Karth and the Tullys and the Tyrells. So yeah, I'm getting more information there. We didn't get much Targaryen stuff at all, just from other people's perspectives. But yeah, fun lore. But yeah, y'all, thank you so much for watching this reaction. Game of Thrones History and Lore 102. Okay, I just filled my brain with so much information. I'm just gonna let me I guess go over the top 3 things that I found the most engaging there. I guess the last thing we talked about at the end there, having been a wildling or a period that the oh my goodness, I'm fumbling my words. The Night's King. There was a period where there was a king of the Night's Watch, which is insane, and that the Starks took care of that. No one talks about it. Like for 13 years, that happened, and that was during Ned's lifetime because they said they just said the Starks came to help, but they don't know if that was during Ned's time. But yeah, that is interesting. I feel like we would have talked about it. That was during Ned's lifetime. Yeah, that's cool. I like the stuff about the free cities, but that was nothing too crazy. It was cool hearing the Onion Knight story from what's his name's perspective. I thought that was pretty cool, so maybe I'll give that as number 3. And anything else really cool? I think Stannis, hearing more of Stannis' perspective on things, I'll say, it was the last really cool thing. Just because, yeah, he went through so much hardship and was then blamed for Robb's accident, and then Renly got to just be la 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 and prance in, as he said. Yeah, I understand why he would have so much animosity and fury, and I'm glad the character's still alive to see him move forward. I can't wait to see what he does. God, I'm so ready to hop into season 3. Y'all don't believe it. Y'all don't know it. And if you're watching, number 1, these fantastic names are the Patreon satellite subscribers that support over on the Patreon, and they will be watching season 3 right now. They don't have to wait a week like y'all. We are probably, who knows, episode 4 or 5 at this point over there on the Patreon. If you're watching this on YouTube right now. So go check it out if you haven't already, if you don't want to wait around for my reaction. Yeah. Trying to see if there's anything else I thought was really cool. The Iron Island stuff was cool. The Drowned God, the lore stuff, I love that. Some detailed one just about the different lore stories or whatever. And it puts me in their world when I react to it, because I'm like, it's like if I was hearing a lore story, I heard this happen. This guy with a flaming sword came in first and took down and helped made him surrender and stuff. Like, yeah, I feel it's far different from the top-down Wikipedia articles I did in my years of study at school. So I feel like, just like how the Maesters were probably taught things, I am becoming a Maester myself. By lore number 8, I feel like I will become a full Maester of Game of Thrones. I will be Child of Winter. Is that even what it's called? Not Child of... Man of Winter. Sweet Child or a Man of Winter, yeah. Yeah. I am... Yeah, whatever. A Child of Winter. Alright, y'all. I am ready to just hop into season 3, so... I don't want to wait. I was thinking I might just tonight react to this and then later this week do season 3, but now this has got me fully in the Game of Thrones mood, and I say, I'm ready to get on the Game of Thrones. I'm ready to Thrones it up, baby. Let's go. Alright, y'all. Thanks for watching. Stick around, subscribe if you haven't, all that good stuff. This is Sputnik, signing out. What's next? I think we're good.